Hello again, this is the third log on August 7th, and this will be log day something else. Welcome back. I've created the illusion of a different day by creating a different background. So thanks for being here. Today, today I've talked about a lot of things already, but right now I'm thinking about presence. I'm thinking about how to show up on camera. One of the things that has been really helpful, and I think that this is the place that I want to be in, the space that I want to live in, is presence, to be present and simply channel a message almost. So if you haven't heard of the idea of channeling, it's like kind of this idea that like other world entities or like, aliens or whatever, for lack of a better term, can kind of like speak through a person. And I'm not channeling necessarily a specific entity per se, except for myself. It might be interesting for you to consider whether your thoughts come from inside you or from outside you. What do you think? I think that when, like in the materialistic sense, from the science perspective, we say that the brain stores information. There's like all this research that is like looking and trying to like observe how the brain stores information, right? The idea of kind of like a hard drive on a computer. I don't think that that's the right kind of analogy. Like our brain is not a hard drive. If anything, the hard drive is our bodies, our organs, and everything, like all the other cells in the body, because it stores like information, and our brain stores a part of it as well. But where our brains really work better is kind of like as an antenna. So if anything, you might think of it as like a Wi-Fi receiver or like a radio antenna. I'm trying to think of an even more outdated reference. Maybe not like a telegraph, like those like Morse code things, telegrams, because I think those were wired. But like our brains are more, it's actually been more useful for me to think of the brain as a receiver. That model is really useful because then that's where kind of like intrusive thoughts like are not my own. So then it didn't come from me. I've just kind of caught a vibe, caught a thought. And then because of that programming, that conditioning, that the thoughts are mine, then I suddenly, if you believe that the thoughts are yours, then you may consider like an intrusive thought, like, oh my God, like why am I thinking this thing, rather than where did I receive this from, right? And that creates the space to then understand that your thoughts are kind of like coming through you from somewhere else. It was really interesting TikTok that was talking about like Michael Jackson, who was like Michael Jackson. He was an artist, and there was, I guess, some interview where he was like, if I get a song in the morning, like at 3 a.m, I have to go and write it down and create it, because if I don't, it will go to someone else, someone named Prince, or the artist formerly known as Prince. I guess they were rivals. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. It also explains a lot of things of how like there are many kind of like similar stories written at similar times, or similar movies produced at similar times. Like that's kind of one way to conceptualize that. This idea definitely exists out there, and depending on the circles that you run in, is maybe more prevalent than others. You could pause for a minute and consider it and see how that model kind of like fits in for you. So what that means in terms of like having your thoughts being received is that you're not thinking them from inside out. Like you don't have to create a thought. You need to just open up and allow the thoughts to download. So you could think of it as, some people would refer to it as God talking to them. Other people might think of it as Source sending them downloads. Others might think of it as a extraterrestrial entity that's talking through them. And it's not to say that any one of those things are true or false. It's like, literally can't prove any of those things. So let's just take it at face value for a moment and consider your own experience. Like experiment with this, like sit there and allow your thoughts to come and pass, right? Think about a problem that you're working on. Like if you're like trying to write something, and if you're sitting down and just trying to struggle and create and write, feeling like, oh my God, I need to produce this thing, then sometimes you get stuck like writer's block. And maybe it's not writer's block. Or Maybe writer's block is the exact right term for it, because you are blocking the downloads from coming in to yourself. You know? So if you have writer's block, maybe it's not that you can't create, you are not opening yourself up to receiving what is coming to you. And that's almost like an over-identification into yourself, and then saying that I create everything. I create everything, so everything has to come from me. And that literally makes no sense. You get ideas from other people, you get ideas from conversing, you get ideas from reading different things. And when these things come in and filter, whether they're like in some type of physical media, like a book or a video or a conversation with someone, you're still catching thoughts. You're taking in all this information, processing it, and that's where the creation happens. When you filter it through your system, your head, your ajna, your throat, and send it out, that's when it becomes real. That's when you're manifesting. That's when you're creating. So I'm thinking about the idea of presence when I'm showing up on these videos, because I think that there's a level of performance that happens when I'm trying to make a video for the sake of making a video. Like, hey, I'm here, I want to make a point to you, and I'm going to make this point in a specific way so that it lands with you in a specific way. And I guess that's fine, but the idea that having a defined structure will result in a defined outcome is a fallacy. Like, I could make the best, most well-structured YouTube video, make a script and like read it out and say it out and all of these things, and still nobody could watch the videos. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't need like 1 billion views right now. Like, how ridiculous would that be for somebody who's come from nowhere to have 1 billion views in one day? Like, there are definitely things that go viral, and I think those are really the things that connect to people. And maybe what happens in those times is the people in those videos are so connected to their presence that they show up so authentically, it simply resonates with a large group of people. There's that idea of resonance, where the people that connect with you, that you vibe with, will just connect with you and vibe with you. So I'm thinking and considering, like, I'm kind of working through this idea of like presence on camera. Not like, hey, I got a commanding presence or whatnot, but just like how to show up in a real way so that you can connect with me. Like, we're not that different. The only thing that's different is like you're not here right now. Like, we are all people. We have our own experiences, our own contexts, our own universes. We are universes unto ourselves. Think about that for a minute. And it's, I think, comforting to know that somebody somewhere will resonate with this. There's somebody out there somewhere that will 100% be interested in specifically the way that this video is created to other people's success as a blueprint for your own. Seems like a failing proposition. I think what we have seen in the last number of decades is that there is a general kind of like formula for success where, you know, you go to school, you get a job, and then you're successful. And that works in the system that we live in. And at the same time, that system is not ideal, especially now, because over the last number of decades, what's happened is we're kind of like pushing that system to its furthest logical conclusion, and we're seeing the results of it now. And that's fine. Like, this is just the way that whole thing is working. And as that system burns itself out, a new one will simply come and take its place. And where will that be? What will that become? Who knows? Like, these videos are going out on a platform like YouTube that facilitates the connection between myself and you. And it's, of course, part of a huge company and all of these things. And like, I'm sure that there's some like problematic things that are going on somewhere I'm not in a position to, I mean, like, I don't specifically know about all of those things, number one. And number two, it's a way of connecting. It's a way of connection. And that's kind of where I am right now. I think that it's very difficult to operate from a place of considering every single thing. It's almost like starting a business and then trying to serve as many people as possible. It gets pretty unwieldy. It's not impossible. There are some places that kind of do it well, but inevitably there will be a group of people that will not vibe with your business, and that's absolutely fine. It's just like you can't grow all plants in the same garden bed. It would just simply not work. So then my presence and how I show up in this space will specifically bring in the people that will connect with me. So if that is the reason that you are still watching this video right now, then I'm here for you. I have something to share, I have something to teach and to give, and I can offer you a different perspective on what it is that you seek. There's always another side to the coin. Every truth is a half truth. So if I can be in presence with you, then I think half the job is done. And then the rest of it is simply practice. One of these days I will figure out a really nice sign off that's like cool, you know, like I want to be like, so I'll see you in the field. I'll see you in the field.